This is about total destruction, the total demolition of the sense of me, the destruction of a person that lives a life, that has relationships, that has achievements and goals, regrets, a past and a future. This is the destruction of moving through time, having progression, cause and effect, one thing leading to another. This is a death of a self. There's no one there. There's no one here. There's no one There's no one on this planet, and there is no planet. That doesn't mean it doesn't appear that way. This can't be understood. These words are so meaningless and this destruction can feel so painful. A lot can be lost. A lot falls away. It's devastating. And yet there's a lightness to it all because it's not really happening. No one lost anything. No one is losing anything. That was an illusory having and losing, and none of it ever happened. There was never a beginning and end. There was never a middle. There was never progression. There was never change. It apparently appeared that way, but nothing is happening. This is a destruction of the sense of self, a destruction of I. There is no me. There is no you. There's no separation whatsoever. There's no center here that the world is revolving around. The fact that that can appear, the fact that a self can create its own dream, its own reality, and there's about 8 billion of these dreams happening simultaneously. That's fucking crazy. And yet simultaneously nothing is happening. This fullness of life, this vibrant expressiveness that looks like anything and everything. It's an explosion of all these different colors and flavors. It's so stunning. It's amazing. It's full on and nothing is happening. It's all empty. This is a total destruction of a sense of self that never was there. And yet the death of it can feel so real. And then it's seen that there's only destruction and construction simultaneously. Everything is built and torn apart all at once. There's nothing to hold on to. The me is desperate to hold on to something, and that's so understandable. That illusory sense of self feels separate, feels like it's missing something, feels like it's not enough, feels like it needs to complete itself, to find wholeness somehow. That is the seeking energy. That's the energy that seeks fulfillment in a job and money, sex, a partner, a loving family, more experiences, a bigger title, more spiritual knowledge, improving in meditation and yoga and having a better body, becoming healthier, learning more, growing more, becoming more conscious, becoming a teacher. That's all this beautiful play, and that can totally continue. No one is doing that already. That's all just what's happening. It doesn't mean that the preference for that unique character that's not really there won't continue. There can be a preference to continue to grow and learn. There can be excitement around that. The sense of me that takes ownership of that just won't be there. It wasn't there the whole time. That illusory sense wasn't real. It appeared real. It felt real. But it was never really there. There was never really a self. There was never really a me doing any of that. Claiming and owning any of that. That sense was just this. That was already perfection. That is already perfection. This is unknowable, unnameable perfection. It's a mystery. This is not perfection on the human level, the personal level, the level of me and my life and my achievements and my goals and my failures. This will be misinterpreted by the me, and it'll be taken that way. That I need to look at everything as perfection no matter what it looks like. That's a tool. Sure, that can be used. That's a belief. It's a concept. There's nothing right or wrong with it. But this message is pointing to something beyond it, but it's not even beyond it. It is it. It is everything. It's beyond everything and is everything simultaneously. It's unknowable. It has no location. It has no quality. Can't be touched. No one dies. No one was born. This is birth and death. It's always just birth and death. This is total emptiness. There is no center. There is no one. Going through a journey. This is not an escape. In a way, you can't escape this because everything is this. And there's no exception. But what the me can do is misinterpret it and try to escape his pain. And that too is just what's happening. There's nothing right or wrong with it. That's how it's being interpreted. This message can be blamed. This message can be ridiculed beyond belief. And that's understandable. This is not talking to the me. This is not talking to the self. The self can't do anything with this. If there's no one there, no one is there. No one is broken. No one needs to heal. No one did anything wrong. No one did anything right. There's no blame on anyone. There's no praise. It's all just what's happening. It's all mysteriously unfolding, but not unfolding. Happening, but not happening. Appearing to be, but not. There's no safety here. This message is scary as fuck. It can also be soothing because it's just this. The sense of separation, the sense of me is this. The sense of me seems to veil this. But it is this. The death of the me sucks. Maybe sometimes it's not noticeable. Maybe it's a gradual death that can't even be detected. But it seems like often it can be extremely painful. This is the death of a self, an illusory sense of self that was never there, that never lived, that never was born. And yet it dies, and it's a death before the death of the body. It's dying before you die. Even that doesn't make sense. It's just a death before the apparent death of the body. And even so, that's just a name, that's just a label. The body doesn't die. This is impossible to explain or describe. There's nowhere to get to. The sense of moving, the sense of getting somewhere, the sense of achieving something, the sense of failing. It's all just this. There's just home. This is home. For no one. No one finally rests their head on the bed. No one finally gets anywhere. No one finally arrives. No one is welcomed back home. It's just seen that it was always home. It was always just this perfection. It was never a separate individual needing to get home, needing to find something better, needing to improve things, needing to change itself. There's only perfection. There's just this innocence, this indescribable, unknowable innocence. All of the conditioning, whether it be good or bad, that's just a label, that's just an opinion, that's all preferences. The preference to not do any harm to another. That's noble. That's beautiful. It's just a preference. The preference to do harm to others and get pleasure from it. That's innocent and twisted. It's disgusting. It's also innocent. That doesn't mean certain words or actions aren't taken. No one is doing that. That's just what's happening. No one is harming another. That's just what's happening. This is impossible to hear for the sense of me. This is not easy to hear for the sense of me. No one is here taking responsibility. No one is here blaming another. That doesn't mean judgments don't arise. That doesn't mean that there's just love for everyone and everything and all conditioning. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I have no interest in getting close to someone who really enjoys doing harm to others. Perhaps there's an interest in understanding why, and because there's just an interest in different characters, but there's not an interest in physically being close to an apparent body with that kind of conditioning. This is not for the me. This is not for the me to accept all different types of characters. What this message is saying is that the full spectrum of it all, whatever it is, everything, meaning everything, is this. There are absolutely no exclusions. Nothing can be apart from this. Nothing can stand above this and witness this. Nothing can make sense of this. Nothing can experience this. Nothing can be in duality with this. Nothing can be a subject and an object. All of that is this. All of it. Everything. Everything. There's only home. And no one is home. There's just home.